The California's hashtag UN poured through the expansive windows of Meghan Markle's Montecito mansion, bathing her home office in a warm, golden glow. The room was a masterpiece of modern elegance, crisp white walls, a sleek glass desk, and shelves lined with books on leadership and hashtag empowerment. Hashtag a vision board hung above, pinned with quotes like "Be the change" and "Own your story." But today, the space felt more like a cage than a sanctuary. Meghan sat hunched over her laptop, her eyes stinging with unshed tears, her phone ominously silent. The dream she'd staked everything on, conquering Hollywood as a power hashtag house producer, was crumbling, and the rejection was more brutal than she'd ever anticipated. It had begun subtly, like a crack in a dam. After stepping away from the royal family, Meghan and Harry had ridden a wave of public fascination, their Netflix documentary and his memoir Spare cementing their status as global figures. She'd been certain Hollywood would embrace her, seeing her not just as a former duchess, but as a visionary with a story to tell. Archewell Productions was her hashtag brainchild, a platform to craft narratives that would inspire and uplift, positioning her alongside icons like Oprah or Ava DuVernay. But the industry, she was learning, was a hashtag fortress of unspoken alliances and ruthless gatekeepers, and her royal party was less a crown than a scarlet letter. The first rejection hashtag came 8 months ago, when a major studio passed on her docuseries about women's empowerment. The email was polite, but cutting, "No tea aligned with our current priorities." Meghan had shrugged it off, chalking it up to a crowded market, and pitched to another studio, then another. Each no grew hashtag elder, more dismissive. Hashtag whispers began to surface on X, where industry insiders posted anonymously, "Meghan's too divisive. Her projects feel forced. She's a liability." The words stung, echoing the tabloid vitriol she'd endured for your hashtag RS. But this time it wasn't just gossip, it was her future slipping away. Her latest project, a scripted drama about overcoming adversity, was her boldest yet. She'd spent months refining the script, assembling a team of writers, and securing a rising director. She'd even courted A-list talent, hashtag leveraging every connection she had. The pitch meeting with a top streaming platform in Los Angeles had felt like her moment. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, her hair swept into a sleek bun, Meghan had walked into the glass-walled boardroom with confident hashtag her V hashtag oi steady, as she outlined her vision. The executives listened, nodding politely, but when she finished, a heavy silence fell. The lead executive, a man known for his bluntness, leaned forward. "Meghan, you're an Amy, but you're not a player," he said. "Hollywood doesn't trust you yet." The words hit like a slap. She'd driven homie in a DA hashtag Z, tears blurring the Pacific Coast Highway as she gripped the steering wheel. She'd wanted to scream that she wasn't just a name, as he was a woman who'd defied a monarchy, built a family under relentless scrutiny, and dared to dream bigger than anyone thought possible. But to Hollywood, she was a curiosity, a former royal whose every move sparked headlines and hashtag controversy. The industry didn't want her story, it anted her silence. The rejections snowballed. A top talent agency dropped Archewell, citing creative differences. A prominent actress, initially excited about a collaboration, backed out after her team warned that Meghan's baggage could taint her brand. Hashtag then smaller ventures, podcasts, speaking gigs, met with lukewarm responses or outright ghosting. The message was clear, Hollywood was shooting her out. On X, the chatter grew vicious. Meghan thought she could waltz into Hollywood and run the show, one post read. "She's learning the hard way." Another, "Too much drama, not enough substance." One evening, Meghan sat alone in her office, the glow of her laptop illuminating her face. An email popped up from a producer she'd known since her Suits days, someone who'd once believed in her. The subject line read, "Some advice." Her stomach churned as she opened it. Hashtag Meghan, you're fighting a losing battle, it began. The industry sees you a #SA risk, too much noise, not enough results. Maybe it's time to step back. The words felt like a betrayal, a confirmation of her worst fears. She slammed the laptop shut, tears spilling over as she buried her face in her hands. Had she miscalculated everything? Had leaving the royal family been a mistake? She tried to shield her pain from Harry. He was in the backyard with Archie and Lilibet, his laughter drifting through the open #endo as he chased them through the grass. She envied his ability to find joy in their quiet life, his focus on charity and fatherhood. But for Meghan, the silence was suffocating. She craved impact, a stage where her voice could resonate, not just as Harry's wife, but as Meghan Markle, the woman who'd always fought for more. Their arguments had grown frequent, his frustration palpable. "Why isn't this enough, Meg?" he'd asked during their last fight. "We have each other, the kids, a good life." She'd had no answer, only a gnawing sense that she was meant for something bigger. The weight of rejection began to erode her confidence. She stopped sleeping, her nights spent scrolling through X#, reading the cruel speculation about her failures. She cancelled meetings, avoided calls from HR team, and withdrew into herself. One night, Harry found her on the living room couch, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes swollen from crying. "Meg, talk to me," he pleaded, sitting beside her. She shook her head, the words caught in her throat. "I thought I could do this," she finally whispered. "I thought I could make them see me." Harry lulled her close, his arms at #Milia comfort. "You don't need them," he said fiercely. "You're enough." But even his love couldn't fill the void left by Hollywood's cold shoulder. The industry she dreamed of conquering had exiled her, and the loss felt like a death of her ambition, her identity, her future. Days blurred into weeks, each one heavier than the last. But one morning, as she sat on the patio, sipping coffee and watching the ocean shimmer in the distance, something shifted. The pain was still there, sharp and raw, but beneath it was a spark of defiance. Hollywood might have rejected her, but she was done fighting. If the industry wouldn't open its doors, she'd find not her way. She opened her laptop and began sketching a new plan, not for a studio pitch, but for an independent platform, one where she could tell stories on her terms, free from the gatekeepers who dismissed her. It was a risky move, that could fail spectacularly. But as she typed, her fingers steady for the first time in weeks, Meghan felt a flicker of hope. She'd faced rejection before, from the royal family, the British press, and Hollywood. Each time, she'd found a way to our eyes. This was just another battle, and she was ready to fight it, not for the industry's approval, but for herself. The tears had dried, and in their place,